hello to the not quite 140 people subscribed to this channel, and to those of you who are subscribed, I definitely appreciate you. It's been a while since I sat down to do a video like this, but when you have something like what happened to me the other day happen, I just can't keep quiet about it, and I think it might be an inspiring story for other people. So I wanted to bring it here to my music channel, because what better place to bring it when it's music related, and talk about what happened to me the other day. Now, there are a few things in life I have been known for consistently throughout the years, because when I love something, I just don't shut up about it. I don't really know how. I'm very passionate about the things that bring me joy and make my life better. A few of those consistencies have been Godzilla. More recently, it's been Tame Impala, and not as recently as him, almost pretty much as long as people have known that I love Godzilla, people knew that I loved the band Shinedown. These are three things in life, with a few other random things like matcha lattes and spiders, that people know that I love. And I recently got to sit down with and interview the frontman for the band Shinedown for my music journalism path that I've been on for a year as of March. I've been writing for this website called Pop Matters, and the mission of the website is in the name. I love this website. I love their mission. I love what they do. It's an independent site that writes about music, writes about film, and other things in pop culture. And I was very fortunate and blessed to be able to be brought onto the staff back in March 2025. And ever since then, I have been working on journalism. And I don't just write about music, I write about movies. I've written about like culture as a broad thing, like criticism and consumerism, whatever floats my boat pretty much. And as I've been writing about the things that I love, Shinedown has obviously come up a few times, and I've covered them in my writing. Now that's all fine and well, but at what point does someone get to actually work with their favorite band? That is a little bit less common, I feel. I would say for the trajectory I've been on, I have gotten to do things ahead of schedule. Writing is a tough field to break into, and you gotta tough things out. You've gotta accept a lot of rejection. I've had so many pitches that were completely ignored. You gotta tough through the times that you're not winning, that you're not succeeding, just like anything in life. But I think that the artistic fields, creative stuff, is even more brutal because so many people are talented. Let's be real. There's so many gifted, talented, creative people in the world. And everybody kind of wants that little slice of fame, that kind of lifestyle. So it's hard to get ahead. But the story behind how I got to interview Brent Smith of Shinedown is one that I find will be inspiring to anyone who wants to break into any field that they're trying to get into, especially if you're creative. I want you to take this story and I want you to follow the thread and just see how this could apply to your own life, because I did not orchestrate this. I kind of fell into this. And I think that if you're doing the right thing, if you're doing what you're meant to be doing, and there's so many gifted, creative, talented people out there who want to pursue their dreams, I want you to pay attention to this story, and I want you to think of yourself while I'm telling it, and maybe even feel inspired. If I can inspire anyone with this story, that'd be amazing, because I'm inspired by how things kind of fell into place. But here's how I got to interview Brent Smith. The events leading up to me sitting down for a Zoom interview with Brent Smith of Shinedown were 8 months in the making, which really isn't a long time, again, considering how this lifestyle is for so many writers and how hard it is to break into the ecosystem. But I had it in my mind for about 8 months that there was a possibility that I could interview Brent Smith or one of the members of Shinedown. And this is how it happened. So there's this film by John Carpenter called They Live. It's about consumerism and the different subliminal tactics that the elites use to keep populations under control, which is super relevant right now with the Epstein files. But I wrote about this in 2025, so I wrote about it before the files were broadly released. But basically, it's this creepy kind of satirical film about how people in power keep the rest of us enslaved and under their thumb. And I thought that was really fascinating because I saw so many parallels to the digital world and to what we're seeing today. So I wrote this big long essay about modern advertising culture and digital trends and influencers and how all these different things come together as the new way to keep the population kind of suppressed. I was very passionate about this piece, and it got published on Pop Matters. And another Pop Matters writer saw my article. He started following me on Twitter through that article. We started talking in DMs, and he said to me a few days later, hey, I noticed that you really like the band Shinedown. I just had a publicist for them reach out to me asking if I'd like to do coverage for this new single that they've got coming out. I'm not really interested in the project. Would you like to take it instead? And I said, heck yeah, I would. Absolutely. To me, as a baby journalist, especially someone who's really kind of just starting to break the ground with music journalism, I thought that was surreal. Like, what? I could actually get connected with my favorite band? So I said, yeah. And I said, by the way, before you contact the publicist, here's an article I wrote about Shinedown in December 2024. It goes into their albums and how the band has changed as people and how that's reflected through their albums up until the current point. And he said, wow, that's great. This is the perfect kind of article to send the publicist. I think she'll like this. He sends the publicist an email. And in just a few days, she reaches out to me and says, hey, we've got a new Shinedown song coming out. Do you want to write about it? I said, I sure would. I sure would like to write about it. I ended up writing my first press piece for the song called Killing Fields from Shinedown's new album, 8, which comes out in May of this year. And I think that the publicist liked it. And we talked a little bit about me getting to interview one of the members of the band, which to me is mind-boggling because I love Shinedown and I have loved them for 10 years. 10 years, that's a long time. They are my soul band. That's what I call them because I feel like they represent me and the kind of person that I want to be. So I was just like, wow, who'da thunk it, right? This can't be a coincidence. And so I said, yes, I would love to do an interview, just let me know. And months went by and everything kind of went quiet for Shinedown because they were gearing up to make more announcements about their new album. Just kind of the way that press cycles go, which I'm starting to learn about as I'm in that ecosystem now. So in January of this year, I reached out to that same publicist and I said, hey, remember when we talked about me doing an interview? What's the likelihood that I could do that before the album comes out? Because I know that it's on the horizon. And she said, okay, yeah, let's get you set up with that. I'm happy to have you do it. A month and a half goes by and it's mid-February, early March, something like that. And I haven't heard anything, which is typical in this field to kind of not know what's going on for a while. But I just thought, maybe she forgot. Maybe I'm not going to end up doing this. I was planning to send a follow-up, but I wasn't sure what was going on yet, so I didn't want to be too pushy. It turns out that publicist then contacts my music editor at Pop Matters and says, hey, is Pop Matters interested in providing coverage for Shinedown's new album that's coming out in May? And I had just written a piece about Shinedown and the Rock the Country controversy that they got involved in recently, which if you're curious about that, I will put the link to my article below, because I tried to be really objective about this while still supporting the values of the band. But if you want to know what happened there, I'll put that in the description. And so my music editor responds to the publicist and says, best to ask Alyssa about that. Here's our lead feature. And it was a piece that had gone on the top of the homepage about the Rock the Country thing that Shinedown got involved in. And then I ended up contacting the publicist from that CC'd email and saying, hey, let's get something started. And so going all the way back to summer of 2025, and you follow the thread all the way here, there's a combination of putting in work, connections, completely unexpected connections that I had no idea was going to lead me here, and then me delivering, and then persistence, and above all, I truly believe God was orchestrating all of this. Because this isn't random. I just don't feel that it's random. It was such a meaningful thing for me to be able to sit down with Brent Smith and just talk about the new album. And this guy's one of my heroes. I don't idolize any of the people that I enjoy who are famous, but I do appreciate them and I respect them, and I have a basic human love for them and their souls, because I'm a Christian and I bring that into my work. And I want to care about and kind of steward the opportunities that I have to reach people. And here's Brent Smith of Shinedown, my favorite band, and all this time he had influenced me and gotten me through some tough times as a kid and as a teenager and a young adult. And I get the opportunity to now give back to him and to other Shinedown fans through my writing. That's just wonderful. It's such an amazing circle, the circle of life, right? And so I sat down with him the other day, and it was my mom's birthday, and we talked for an hour and 15 minutes. I cannot post the interview here because I'm going to turn it into a written article, and the written article you can expect to read in late May, around the time that the album comes out, because I'm going to be following the press cycle for that. But we had a great conversation. Brent Smith is such a kind, down-to-earth human being. It felt like just two normal people having a conversation. You would never know that this guy is a rock star of 25 years. You never know. He's just such a warm-hearted, pleasant, decent human being. And I really enjoyed our conversation. And I enjoy what that opportunity now allows me to give back to other people. And yes, I did ask Brent at the end of our interview if he would be so kind as to give my mom a happy birthday shout out, because we're a Shinedown family. We all love Shinedown. And he did, and that was my birthday gift to her, and she was so happy. She could not believe it. And I kept thinking to myself, like, man, how am I going to top this next year? And I'm not. Most likely there's no way I'm going to top the gift that I gave her of her seeing him on a Zoom call, wishing her happy birthday. But I just got to bring joy to my family, got to bring joy to myself, and I hope that I brought some light into Brent's life with our conversation. And now I just get the opportunity to give joy to Shinedown fans and people who love this band like I do. Got so much great material, such a great conversation, and I just can't believe that I got to do this. And it's not through my own merit entirely. Like, I believe in my writing. I love what I do. I love being a music journalist, pop culture journalist. I love doing this. And obviously my editors contributed to me getting this opportunity, so many thanks to them, and that kind Pop Matters writer who put me in contact with a publicist initially. All of these people I have a great gratitude for, and I'm grateful that I'm willing to put in work to get to these places, but all glory goes to God. He puts me in these positions. He sees the heart I have for musicians and for higher profile people who I think a lot of other Christians will ignore and look over because they just write them off as completely irredeemable and evil or just too famous to ever be saved. But I see them differently. I have a heart for these people. I care about them, and certainly when they're as kind and easy to talk to as Brent Smith, it's just a great opportunity. So I hope that anyone watching this, if you have a dream, that you go headlong into that dream. Chase it down. Because chances are, if there's something you really love to do and you just feel all in about it, that's something that God wants you to do. Maybe not all the time, but I believe that 90% of the time, if you are naturally skilled at something and you have a deep love for something, whatever that is, God put that desire in your heart, and if you follow Him and you follow your dreams at the same time, great things will happen. So, God bless Brent Smith and the band Shinedown. Loved our conversation, and I can't wait to turn this into an article that you can read on Pop Matters. If you're curious about any of my journalism work, I'll also put my website essay tab below in the description, or you can just follow me on Pop Matters. I have an author profile in there that you can check out, but it's all also on my website. God bless you as well, to the person who's watching this. Thank you for your support of my music and for supporting me as I support other musicians, because it is a great blessing to be able to do that. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to put good things in your ears and in your soul. And remember, it's never goodbye, it's just till next time.